This is the way every semi-failure will work out for you if you keep your faith, hold to your purpose, have gratitude, and do every day all that can be done that day, doing each separate act in a successful manner. Okay. When you make a failure, it is because you have not asked for enough. Keep on. Larger thing. Then you are seeking will suddenly come to you. Remember this. You will not fail because you lack the necessary talent to do what you wish to do. If you go on as a half director, you will develop all talent that is necessary to doing of your work. It is not within the scope of this book to deal with the sense of cultivating talent, but it is as certain and simple as the process of getting rich. However, do not hesitate or waver for fear that when you continue a certain place you will fail for lack of ability. Keep right on, and when you come to that place, the ability will be furnished to you. The same source of ability which enable the uptaught linked to the greatest work in government ever accomplished by a single man is open to you. You may draw upon all the mind there is for wisdom to use in meeting the responsibilities which are laid upon you. Going in full faith. Okay, going in full faith. Study this book, make it your constant companion until you have mastered all the ideas that are contained in it. While you are getting firmly established in this faith, you will do well to give up most recreations and pleasure, and to stay away from places where ideas are conflicting with these or advancing lectures or sermons. Do not read pessimistic or complicated literature to get into arguments upon the matter. Do very little reading outside of the writers mentioning in the perspectives. Spend most of your leisure time and contemplate your vision, and in cultivating gratitude and reading this book. It contains all you need to know of the sense of getting rich, and you will find that all the essentials summed up in the following chapter. Hmm. Summary. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills with interspaces of the universe. A thought, and this substance produces a thought, and this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do thus, man must pass from comparative to creative mind, otherwise he cannot be in harmony with the formless intelligence, which is always creative and never competitive in spirit. Man may come into full harmony with the formless substance by entertaining a lively and sincere gratitude for the blessing it bestows upon him. Gratitude unifies, the mind of man with the intelligence of substance, so that man's thoughts are received by formless. Man can remain upon the creative plane, only by uniting himself with a formless intelligence through a deep and continuous feeling of gratitude. Man must form a clear and definite mental image of the things he wishes to have, to do, or to become, and must hold this mental image in his thoughts while being deeply grateful to the Supreme that all his desires are granted to him. The man who wishes to get rich must spend his leisure hours in contemplating his vision and in earnest thanksgiving that the reality is being given to him. Too much stress cannot be laid on importance of frequent contemplation of the mental image, coupled with unwavering faith and devout gratitude. This is a process by which the impression is given to the formless and the creative forces are set in motion. The creative energy works through the established channels of the natural growth and of the industrial and the social order. All that is included in his mental image will surely be brought to the man who follows the instructions given above and whose faith does not waver. What he wants will come to him through the ways of established trade and commerce. In order to receive his own, when it shall come to him, man must be active, and this activity can only consist in more than filling with the present place. He must keep in mind the purpose to get rich through the realization of his mental image. And he must do every day all that can be done that day, taking care to do each act in a successful manner. He must give to every man a huge value in excess of the cash value he receives, so that each transaction makes for more life, and he must so hold the advancing thought that the impression of increase will be communicated to all with whom he comes in contact. The men and women who practice in the foregoing instructions will certainly get rich, and the riches they receive will be in exact proportion of the definiteness of their vision, the fixity of their purpose, the steadiness of their faith, and the depth of their gratitude. Okay, I finished this one already. Oh, science getting rich. The sense of getting rich. I think this book because it's too old, but 100 years ago. In this book, I shall not speak of riches in a figurative way. To be really rich does not mean to be satisfied and contented with a little. No man ought to satisfy with a little if he is capable of using and enjoying more. The purpose of nature is advancement and unfoldment of life, and every man should have all that can contribute to the power, elegancy, beauty, and the riches of life, to be content with the less than sinful. The man who owns all he wants for the living all the life he is capable of living is rich, and the no man who has not plenty of money can have all he wants. Life is advanced so far, and they become so complex that even the most ordinary men and women requires a great amount of wealth in order to live in a manner It even approaches in a completeness. Every person naturally wants to become all that they are capable of becoming. There's a desire to realize innate possibilities inherent in human nature. We cannot help wanting to be all that we can be. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. You can become what you want to be only by making use of things, and you can have a free use of things only as you become rich enough to buy them. To understand the science of getting rich is therefore the most essential of all knowledge. There is nothing wrong in wanting to get rich. The desire for riches is really the desire for richer, fuller, and a more abundant life, and the desire to praise worthy. The man who does not desire to live more abundantly is abnormal, and so the man who does not desire to have money enough to buy all he wants to be abnormal. There are three motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, we live for the soul. No one of these is better or holier than the other, are alike undesirable, and none of the three body, mind, or soul can live fully enough either of others and cut short of full life and expression. It is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny mind or body, and it is wrong to live for the intellect and deny bodies or soul. We are all acquainted with the loathsome consequences of living for the body and denying both mind and soul, and we see that real life means the complete expression of all that man can give forth through body, mind, and soul. Whatever he can say, no man can be really happy or satisfied unless his body is living fully in every function, and unless the same is true of his mind and his soul. Wherever there is unexpressed and a possibility or a function not performed, there is unsatisfied desire. Desire is a possibility seeking expression or a function seeking performance. Man cannot live fully embodied without good food, comfortable clothing, and a warm shelter, and without freedom from excessive toil. Rest and reaction are also necessary to his physical life. He cannot live fully in mind without books and the time to study them, without opportunity for travel and observation, or without intellect, companionship. To live fully in mind, he must live intellectual recreations, and must surround himself with all the objects of art and the beauty he is capable of using, appreciating. To live fully in soul, man must have love, and the love is denied expression by poverty. Yeah, love. A man's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits of those he loves. Love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in giving. The man who has nothing to give cannot feel his place as a husband or father, as a citizen, or as a man. It is in the usual material things that a man finds a full life, for his body develops, his mind and unfolds his soul. It is therefore of supreme importance to him that he should be rich. It is perfectly right. Then you should desire to be rich. If you are a normal man or a woman, you cannot help doing so. It is perfectly right that you should give your best attention to the sense of getting rich. For it is the noblest and the most necessary of all studies. If you neglect this study, you are derelict in your duty to yourself, to God, and humanity. For you can render to God and the humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. There is science. There is a sense of getting rich, and it is an exact science, like algebra and arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. Once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, he will get rich with a mathematical certainty. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. Those who do things in a certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich, while those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work and how able they are, remain poor. It is a natural law that, like causes, always produces like effects, and therefore, any man and woman who learns to do things in this certain way will infallibly get rich. That the above statement is true is shown by following facts. Getting rich is no matter of environment, for if it were, all the people in certain neighborhoods would become wealthy. The people of one city wouldn't all be rich, while those of others towns would all be poor, or the inhabitants of one state would rule in wealth, while those in an adjoining state would be in poverty. But everywhere we see rich and poor living side by side in the same environment, and often engaged in the same vocations. When two men are the same locality and in the same business, and the one gets rich, while the other remains poor, it shows that getting rich is not primarily a matter of environment. Some environments may be more favorable than others. Then when two men in the same business are in the same neighborhood and the one gets rich in a while the other fails, it indicates that getting rich is a result of doing things in a certain way. And further, the ability to do things in a certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent, for many people who have a great talent remain poor, while others who have a very little talent get rich. Mm. Studying the people who have got rich, and we find that they're on average a lot in all respects, having no greater talents and abilities than other men. It is evident that they do not get rich because they possess talents and abilities that other men have not, but because they happen to do things in a certain way. Getting rich is not a result of saving or thrift. Many very penurious people are poor, while free spenders often get rich. Free spenders. Nor is getting rich due to doing things which others fail to do. For two men in the same business often do almost exactly the same things, and the one gets rich while the other remains poor or becomes bankrupt. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. If getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produce like effects, then a man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich, and the whole matter is brought within the domain of exact science. The question arises here whether this certain way may not be so difficult that only a few may follow it. This cannot be true, as we have seen, so far as natural ability is concerned. Talented people get rich, and the block hasn't get rich. Intellectually brilliant people get rich, and the very stupid people get rich. Physically strong people get rich, and the weak and sickly people get rich. Mm. Some degree of ability to think and understand is, of course, essential, but insofar natural ability isn't concerned, any man or woman who has a sense enough to read and understand these words and can certainly get rich. Also, we have seen that it is not a matter of environment. Location counts for something. One would not go to the heart of the Sahara and expect to do successful business. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with men of the being where there are people to deal with. And if these people are inclined to deal in the way you want to deal, so much the better. But that is about as far as the environment goes. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you, and if anybody else in the state can get rich, so can you. Again, it is not a matter of choosing some particular business or profession. People get rich in every business and in every profession, while the next door neighbors in the same vocation remain in poverty. It is true that you will do best in a business which you like and which is congenial to you, and if you have certain talents which are well developed, you will do best in a business which calls for the exercise for those talents. Also, you would do best in a business which is suited to you locally. An ice cream parlor would be better in a warm climate than the Greenland, and the salmon fishery would succeed better in the northeastern than Florida, where there are no salmon. But aside from these general limitations, getting rich is not dependent upon your engaging in some particular business, but upon your learning to do things in a certain way. If you are now in business and anybody else in your locality in getting rich in the same business while you are not getting rich, it is because you are not doing things in the same way that the other person is doing them. Nor is prevented from getting rich is lack of capital. True, as you get capital, the increase will become more easy and rapid, but one who has capital is already rich and does not need to consider how to become so. No matter how poor you may be, if you begin to do things in a certain way, you will begin to get rich, and you will begin to have capital. The getting of the capital is a part of the process of getting rich, and it is a part of the result which invariably follows the doing of things in a certain way. You may be poorest man on the continent and be deeply in debt, and you may have neither friends or influence nor resources. But if you begin to do things in this way, you mustn't invariably begin to get rich. For like cosmos produces like effects, if you have no capital, you can get rich. If you're in the wrong business, you can get into the right business. If you're at the wrong location, you can go to the right location. And you can do so by beginning in your present business and your present location to do things in a certain way which causes success. Okay, that's enough. I'm so hungry and tired.